What's the absolute worst piece of advice you ever received? I was told multiple times by her family that having a child would help fix our marriage. You'll both be focused on the kid, it'll help you bond. When I explained that I didn't want to bring a child into an unstable environment based on a gamble, the prevailing thought was that I was being selfish. Unreal. Just get pregnant and marry him. He will have to stop cheating if you do. God, am I glad I didn't listen to that. Don't worry about the cost of the wedding, you'll make it back in the gifts. You only need to feed newborns once a day. Fucking. What? If you have a bicycle, saw it in half and get 2 unicycles. Advice from an honest hobo in San Francisco holding a sign that said $1 for bad advice. A 2-year degree in computers? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Nobody uses them because nobody can afford them. Focus on 4 years of English Lit. Advice from an unnamed source in 1990. However, my internet spit posts are top notch. Break up with her, she's not worth it. Nobody has the right to treat you that way. Because my wife and I disagreed over who should do the laundry. Thanks, Reddit. Edit, I should add, this was unsolicited advice. Tell HR. You should try washing your face more. Thanks, I never thought of that. Cries into 15 bottles of moisturizers, exfoliators, and facial cleansers. Back when originally job seeking, pretty much everything my parents told me to do. Like sure, it may have worked in your day to give them a slip of paper with your name and the words reliable and key. But most major chain stores hire through an online form these days. Friend told me to pull out student loans to buy cryptocurrency. I didn't listen, of course. He did it himself though and got burned on epic proportions. To hit my abusive father back. Got multiple broken ribs the one time I listened to that advice, lol. People are monsters, so you better settle with whoever you can. No thanks, mother. I don't wanna end up with 4 kids and 7 failed relationships and an abusive on and off boyfriend who walks all over me because I let him. My dad told me to get a gosh damn balloon lease on a fudging car as soon as I graduated college. I had no idea what was going on and thought I'd bought the car. Imagine my surprise 4 years later when not only did I own 0 cars, I also owed $20k or had to get a new car. Fuck my finances 4 years. My dad is not good with money. To smoke marijuana when I was having a bad anxiety panic attack. Shit made it 1000 times worse. It felt like time had stopped and I was dying. Your dog came from an abusive household and is shy around people? I suggest starving him for a few days until he is forced to eat from your hand. No. When I was young, a teacher said to me, it's rude if you ask for something, you have to let them offer it first. Taking Zoloft will help your disgusting porn addiction. I'll just tell your mom you're depressed and prescribe it to you. My first therapist I had when I was 13-14 years old and hypersexual from childhood sexual abuse. You should just give him a chance. About my potentially violent stalker. In college I broke up with my girlfriend over the summer despite it being the wrong decision. She was the sweetest, most loving girl I'd ever met. She sent me a package of really thoughtful gifts for my birthday and I was going to call her and thank her. I honestly think we would have gotten back together. My roommate convinced me I shouldn't call her and give her false hope. I felt horrible and didn't call. I still regret that to this day. If anyone is ever stupid enough to think they love you in spite of how you look, you'd better stick with them for life because it will never happen again. Thanks, Mom. That sure didn't lead to a pattern of incredibly dangerous and abusive relationships I couldn't break until my mid-30s. Forgive and forget. My family has always said this and it only kept abusive people in my life. They were never held accountable for their actions and I was supposed to forgive them and never bring it up again because they're family. Cutting out toxic family members and remembering why I did it was the best thing I've ever done for myself. Don't worry about how much you take out for a student loan. The interest is so low it will be easy to pay off. Never admit when you're wrong. The person I hate for how prideful and toxic he is says to me, I had never had a boyfriend before and my friend told me it's because I'm too intimidating and I should dumb it down when talking to men to make them like me more. Many years ago my mother told my two younger sisters who were 13 and 15 at the time to get pregnant ASAP to any boy their own age so they could get a benefit in child support for the next 18 years. Her reasoning was that the boy's parents would make extra hush payments to keep it quiet and her daughters would be able to be like her, jobless and paid by the state to stay at home doing nothing. It was actually good advice because both of my younger sisters are hard-working, highly educated women now in their 30s with decent partners who are only now looking at having children. That advice finally broke the hold she had over them and showed them what they didn't want to be as an adult. You only need C's to graduate. Community college will take you. Thanks, Mom. From my dad, go to the pub and start a fight thinking it would somehow help my social life. With age comes wisdom, so you must always listen to your elders. They always have your best interests at heart. This is not always true. They're all still human, no matter how old they are. They also make mistakes, act selfish, are spiteful. Take acid if you're cramming for a test beforehand since it helps with studying. Yeah, I just love losing my mind when I look down at equations and they're suddenly moving hieroglyphics. If a boy's mean to you, that means he really likes you. Thanks for that one, auntie. Totally didn't fudge me up at 7 years old when I told you a classmate punched me in the nose. To stay with an abuser because it was a sin to leave. My grandmother always used to tell me you can never be too rich or too thin. Which is just questionable all around, really. Once got some DMs on Reddit from someone who tried to convert me to Mormonism after they found out I was suicidal. Second worst would be someone who told me to smuggle psychedelic mushrooms into my college, which is in another country by the way, and trip on those as a means of treating my depression. Never make friends with your co-workers. The good old just stop worrying so much and be happy. Like you am a third year, you just solved all my problems. I'd never thought about that myself. Listen to my friend who is a serial monogamist and in love with the idea of being in love, that I should get back together with my boyfriend. We broke up for a reason. I should trust my own feelings the first time around. Round 2 of breakup was just as spit as the first. Don't do X because you are a girl. As in, don't whistle. It isn't ladylike. Don't chew gum or smoke. Both are unbecoming for a girl. Don't talk on dates. Listen, that is what boys find attractive. Didn't say, don't join the army. I retired as a lieutenant colonel. Don't worry about what your Southern Ivy Law School costs. The name will get you good jobs and you'll be able to pay off the debt in a few years. 25 years later, I could pay off the loan amount or buy a new Prius outright. Marry a good Christian woman. Because if she does what God says, she has to do what you say too. Fuck you, Uncle Jim. I was told to stop being so sensitive after pouring my heart out to my best friend about something she was doing that was hurting me. I ended that friendship, on good terms, a few months later. BTW, I agree that in certain cases you gotta be insensitive to protect yourself, but in that given situation, she was basically telling me to not be myself and share my true feelings with her because my paragraphs were annoying. I'm selling my house. My new house will be ready in 3 weeks. My mother told me not to sell to someone who is going to put a pool in my already beautiful backyard. Hell, I'm selling to whoever will pay me what I'm asking. If you are worried about not lasting long, have a tactical wank 15 minutes before. Better hurry up and get married. You'll be 30 soon and then men won't care about you anymore. Joke's on you, idiot, men already don't care about me. Bloom where you're planted. Fuck that. I want to live in all the places. I promise I won't be mad if you tell me. It's better to keep your mouth shut no matter what. Yeah, if I didn't keep my mouth shut then I would not have taken a beating from a group of guys in order to take the fall for a friend who pissed the group off. Double quote. Snitches get stitches, no. People who don't fess up also get stitches sometimes. I have a great one. In high school I joined the football team my freshman year. There was a giant senior who played fullback and was one of the physical strongest players we had. Dude was jacked. He dead serious told me that if you work out hard enough and get big enough muscles that bullets couldn't make it through them. He really believed that bullets couldn't kill you if you were jacked enough. He was a bit dumb. Told me this in a freshman class he had to take as a senior. Nothing mentally wrong with him. He just didn't devote much time to anything other than lifting and football. Nice guy though. Money doesn't buy happiness. I would be a lot happier if I had more money right now. Get back on the horse. In reference to returning to work as a cashier after experiencing a robbery. Needless to say, I didn't get back on the horse. In fact, I told the horse to go fudge itself. Look for a man who will be a good father to your kids. Love is a delusion and attraction doesn't last, said to me by my aunt when I was a teenager. My dad immediately replied, if her kids have a bad father, they'll at least have a good mother. Let her love and be loved. I mean, I understand where she was coming from, and I know attraction fades. But the idea that I have to look for a life partner based on something impossible to prove, like being a good father, unless he already has children, instead of love and attraction, was jarring to say the least. Don't fight back, they'll eventually stop. I want you to try heroin with me. Spoiler, I refused. You don't need math 12. Sure, I don't need it to graduate high school, but I sure as hell need it if I want to go to university and actually make something of myself. The shocking part was this advice came from my father, who was also my school counselor. I think he thought I sucked at math, which is the opposite of the truth, and was just trying to get me to graduation. I actually just hated school in high school, and had terrible studying habits. I didn't study at all, but was smart enough to get by on what I learned in class. I took in summer school after I graduated high school. I'm now an accountant. This may not be the worst advice I've ever received, but it certainly irritates me to hear it. As long as you sound like you know what you're talking about, people won't question it. Maybe it's true, but I'm not really all that interested in perpetuating bullspit. The more people that know the truth about things, the better off we all are. Get a 2008 Jeep Commander, my father-in-law, who loves Jeeps. That thing broke down every 6 months, and it cost $3K to fix every time. And for an unrelated reason, we don't talk to him anymore. My mother's best friend was told a bad father is better than no father by her therapist when she was getting a divorce with a child. He ended up beating the ever-living spit out of his daughter her entire childhood and causing her to put herself in extremely dangerous situations that eventually led to her being trafficked. Some people you should just cut off, no matter how they're related to you. He's actually in jail for murder now, and this isn't even the first one. Do not pursue that girl, she is above your level. Just have a baby and see how you like it. If you don't, you won't have to have another one. My mom, when I told her I absolutely do not want kids in the future. It's not as easy as buying something at the store and returning it if you're not satisfied. Start of my relationship with my me. Will you stop interrupting me all the time while we talk? It's just the way girls talk. We speak and listen at the same time. You should learn that too. Me does what she says. Just instantly reply when she talks, asks me something, and think I'm doing pretty well. OMFG. Can you stop interrupting me? Me. Now I can't stop, and I see I annoy a lot of other people in my life, and rightfully so. Send help. Had a therapist tell me I should not let emotional psychological abuse bother me, so I could let toxic family members back in my life and they could keep abusing me but it wouldn't bother me. WTF? Exclamation point. Just be yourself. On a serious note, it should be about being your best self. You don't have to pay medical bills. Just tell them you can't pay them and ignore their calls. My mom told me this before I knew what credit was. Now I can't rent an apartment or get a decent loan for a car, thanks mom. Don't try to control the relationship and let it develop naturally. In regards to a guy I was seeing, I was having second thoughts about. I was a mess from being recently divorced and didn't realize it, so I ignored a ton of red flags. Turns out he was just using me and then raped me, gave me herpes, and then tried to break down my door 2 days after I blocked his number. Go to college so you don't end up as a plumber. Turns out the job security and job market in a trade profession is pretty nice right now while my game design degree is going against a wall of spitty corporate policies and a highly competitive and saturated marketplace. When my Sue and I started dating, he went to his dad for advice. His only response, fist her. Thankfully, he's never done it had need to do it. Follow your dreams. Not that there is anything inherently wrong with that, but you have to look at your pros, cons and what you're willing to do and go from there. I honestly think that people who simply trumpet just follow your dreams know very little about life.